What if giants roamed America, aliens hid archives in mountains, and pyramids whispered secrets from Antarctica? Buried truths that shatter history, forgotten cities rising from sand, mummies with golden tongues pleading in the afterlife. Dare to dive into the unknown where every discovery challenges your reality. Are you brave enough to uncover what's been hidden for millennia? Let's start our journey of discovery. Hidden within stone lies the Gumishler Monastery. What's even more remarkable is that it's one of the most well-preserved rock monasteries in all of Turkey, a country famous for its dozens of stone sanctuaries and some of the world's oldest temples. Scholars believe the most important part of the monastery is the church located to the north. At least 3 different artists left their mark on the frescoes here. Yet perhaps the most surprising detail is that the monastery was hidden for centuries and wasn't rediscovered until 1962. One feature that sets Gumishlar apart from other sites in the region is the hunting scenes carved into the stone walls, something never seen elsewhere. These scenes show hunters chasing their prey, a stark contrast to the more common religious artwork like images of St. John the Baptist or St. Stephen. In 1957, a young boy named Ludi van Benzing was playing on his father's farm near Leidenburg, South Africa, when he stumbled upon strange ceramic fragments buried in the dirt. He had no idea he had just uncovered a mystery that would baffle archaeologists for decades. Years later, Ludi returned to the same spot and pieced together a remarkable discovery. 7 ancient terracotta heads, now known as the Leidenburg heads. These artifacts are among the oldest examples of African art in the southern part of the continent, dating back to around 500 AD yet. No one knows who made them or why. The heads vary in size. 2 are large enough to be worn like helmets, while the smaller ones have holes, possibly for attaching to garments or structures. Each head has distinctive features: almond-shaped eyes, slightly open mouths, and decorative scar patterns across the forehead and temples. These markings suggest ritual scarification, a symbol of beauty or social status in some African traditions. The statues also have grooved necks, which may symbolize prosperity. 2 of the larger heads even have miniature animal figures mounted on top, one of which can't be identified. In African tradition, animals on masks often represent spiritual entities. Could these heads have been used in rituals to communicate with spirit guides or served as protective charms for the community? Archaeologists suspect they played a role in initiation ceremonies, marking an important rite of passage. One puzzling detail is that the statues appear to have been intentionally burned before being buried. The reason behind this remains unknown. Today, the original heads are housed at the Iziko National Museum in Cape Town, while replicas are on display in Leidenburg. Their true purpose has yet to be deciphered, and the mystery continues to challenge new generations of researchers. Could a powerful intelligence have uncovered a forbidden history buried beneath Romania? In 2002, a Pentagon satellite detected something unusual within the Bisegi Mountains of Romania. The anomaly was so extraordinary that just 1 year later, in 2003, the United States sent in forces to scan the entire region using the most advanced ground-penetrating radar available. But this was not an archaeological expedition. It was a military mission. To this day, nothing has been officially confirmed. The story begins with a high-ranking member of the Italian Freemasons who is believed to have tipped off a secret division of the Romanian intelligence service. He claimed that American radar had detected an anomaly inside the mountain. Rumors quickly spread that it was a bizarre dome-shaped structure, so strange that it ignited a storm of political maneuvering, including an accelerated push for Romania's NATO membership, supposedly to secure and protect the hidden site. At the same time, a similar anomaly was discovered in Iraq. Some believe this strange finding played a role in prompting the invasion that soon followed. In Romania, The anomaly was described as a hemisphere of energy, an arch structure buried deep within the mountain. Radar scans also revealed a tunnel leading inward, blocked by a second layer of energy, separating the outside world from what has since been called the ancient archive room. The conspiracy theory spread like wildfire. Some claimed the site wasn't built by humans at all, but by a long-lost civilization, or perhaps even an alien species. Within the chamber, it's said there lies a massive store of forgotten knowledge, genetic information far beyond human understanding, tied not only to human history, but also to giants extraterrestrials and human-alien hybrids. Whatever was found inside the mountain was powerful enough to draw the attention of the Pentagon, the Romanian government, and even the Freemasons, all competing for control. To this day, no one has managed to gain full access. But there are still tunnels branching deep beneath the mountain, perhaps leading to other lost vaults buried across the planet. Estimates suggest the archive room was created around 50,000 years ago, and that the tunnels may connect to similar repositories hidden around the world. None of this can be verified beyond doubt, although author and publisher Peter Moon claims he traveled to Romania and confirmed several key elements of the story. Moon has returned to the site 9 times and partnered with Dr. David Anderson, a founder of the World Genesis Foundation. This organization, interestingly, has nothing to do with time travel or conspiracies. It is a nonprofit focused on providing educational opportunities for youth with the mission to leave no child without hope for the future. However, Dr. Anderson is also known for his published research on space-time physics and time control technologies. He and Peter Moon met at Atlanticron, a summer academy in Romania that brings together young people and international experts to explore pressing global issues. This story is like a labyrinth of secrets. The deeper you go, the more compelling it becomes. Perhaps more will be revealed in time. But for now, people are left wondering, could the Romanian mountains truly hold the world's most valuable genetic archive? Or is this all just an unproven conspiracy? All across the United States, strange burial mounds and earthen tombs have been uncovered, believed by some to be the final resting places of an extinct race of giants. As you might expect, it's a topic surrounded by fierce controversy. At the center of this mystery is Cahokia. In the year 1100, this was the largest city north of Mexico. Today, the site lies in Illinois near the Mississippi River. In just 50 years, Cahokia grew rapidly and became the most populated urban center in North America at the time, surviving until about 1400. At its peak, Cahokia had a population of around 50,000, larger than London during the same period. 3 major hubs were connected by canals and trails, forming a well-planned civilization with advanced agriculture, vibrant art, and a rich cultural heritage. But the Cahokians abandoned their city after climate changes and repeated flooding devastated the land. Depending on who you ask, the people here may have been true giants. There are stories claiming that giant skeletons were once discovered in their burial mounds. Mainstream science firmly rejects these claims. That backlash only fuels more frustration, especially when we learn that early explorers once credited Cahokia's greatness to transatlantic Europeans instead of recognizing the achievements of Native Americans. From an archaeological standpoint, Cahokia is a mess. Some say the giant bones disintegrated into dust when removed from their graves. Others believe the Smithsonian Institution suppressed the truth. Early excavations were flawed, disrespectful, and left damage that still affects researchers today. Now, the responsibility falls to modern archaeologists, those striving to piece together what remains of a once great civilization whose echoes still linger beneath the soil. Deep within the Egyptian desert, scientists have discovered a strange kind of yellow glass unlike any other material found on Earth. Known as Libyan desert glass, this radiant substance tells a story stretching back 29 million years, traced to the impact of a meteorite. One shard of this glass was even found in a piece of jewelry buried with King Tutankhamun. Its origin has long sparked debate. Some believe it was created by the impact of a meteorite, while others argue it resulted from an airburst, an intense explosion of a cosmic rock in the atmosphere. Recently, a team of scientists led by geologist Aaron Cavassi from Curtin University in Australia shed new light on the mystery. Using high-powered microscopes, they analyzed 7 samples of the glass and discovered tiny zircon crystals, embedded within minerals that transform their structure only under extreme pressure. Some of these zircons had once been rhyolite, a rare mineral that forms only during the tremendous force of a meteorite strike, not from a blast in the sky. Their findings confirmed that this yellow glass wasn't created by an air burst, but by a direct collision with Earth. The impact was so powerful, it melted desert sand, producing the brilliant glass fragments that still exist today. Strangely, no matching crater has ever been found. It may lie buried beneath the desert sands. The discovery of rhyolite not only confirms the glass's extraterrestrial origins, it also reveals how ancient impacts helped shape Earth's surface. While cosmic rocks remain a potential threat, this glass stands as a vivid reminder. Even from catastrophe, nature can produce dazzling masterpieces, celestial remnants scattered across our planet. The Ramesseum, a grand mortuary temple, was built to honor and entomb Pharaoh Rameses II, one of ancient Egypt's most powerful kings. But it wasn't just a memorial to a fallen ruler. It also served as a sacred temple devoted to Amun, the supreme deity of Egyptian belief. Modern scholars call it the Ramesseum, but the ancient Egyptians gave it a much longer name. The house of millions of years of User-Mater-Setepener, the city of Amun's domain. A name so long that even today's historians can only shake their heads. Despite standing for thousands of years, the Ramesseum still rises from the Egyptian desert. Many statues have been damaged or lost to time, but the temple retains the majestic presence of its former glory. Its outer walls are etched with scenes of victorious battles and images of ancient Egyptian gods. Yet these very reliefs have stirred controversy. Some believe the carvings depict more than just battles between Egyptians and earthly enemies. They suggest a war with a powerful race known as the Anunnaki. Supporters of this theory claim the Anunnaki were beings from distant worlds who once meddled in human affairs and intermingled their bloodlines with ours. But from the viewpoint of mainstream archaeology, the Anunnaki were simply deities worshipped by the ancient Sumerians and Babylonians, not extraterrestrial beings. There is no clear evidence that they ever existed as a real supernatural race. In reality, the temple's carvings don't show wars between humans and alien gods. They depict Egypt's military triumphs over human foes, along with ceremonies offering those victories to their traditional deities, a testament to the beliefs, power, and devotion that once defined a great civilization. Earlier this year, scientists made a stunning discovery: a rare mineral called jarosite, buried deep beneath the thick ice sheets of Antarctica. What makes this finding so bizarre is that jarosite is commonly found on Mars, but is extremely rare on Earth. Jarosite has a golden-brown hue and only forms in wet, highly acidic environments. While Mars today is dry and barren, the mineral appears across the red planet's surface, something that has puzzled scientists for years. Some theories suggest that ancient Mars was once covered in ice. A frozen, acidic, water-rich environment would have been ideal for jarosite to form. Now, its appearance in Antarctica could help confirm that theory. The research team hadn't expected to find jarosite at all. As they drilled mile-long cores into the ice to study its ancient structure, they discovered traces of the mineral at the lowest depths. Further analysis confirmed that the jarosite had formed inside trapped air pockets within the ice, just as it might have formed on Mars millions of years ago. In recent years, Antarctica has become a natural laboratory for space research. Its extreme conditions resemble Mars more than any other place on Earth, And discoveries like jarosite are just one of many clues that could help humanity unravel the climatic and geological history of the Red Planet. Amid the rubble of an ancient Roman fort in northern England, two volunteer archaeologists, Richie Moore and David Goldwater, made a rare and mysterious find: a stone carving of a naked warrior standing beside his horse. After 15 years of work at the historic site of Vindolanda, neither man could believe their eyes when the figure emerged just inches below the surface. Vindolanda is one of the most important archaeological sites in the world, known for revealing treasures unlike anything seen before. But this sculpture left even the experts puzzled. Measuring about 12 inches in length, it's unusually large for its time. Marzia Alberti, the resident archaeologist at the site, believes that the character's nudity could indicate he wasn't a mere mortal, but a god. The carving shows the figure holding a spear in his left hand, suggesting he might represent Mars, the god of war. But there's one detail that complicates things. The figure has wings, a symbol typically associated with Mercury, the god of travel and guardian of those who journey, often shown alongside a horse. So, who is this? Mars Mercury, or perhaps a new deity invented by soldiers stationed at this remote frontier? Whoever he was, the statuesque discovery is even more compelling given that it was found within the cavalry barracks of the fort. It's possible that Roman troops here created a unique figure for themselves, a divine blend of warfare, movement, and the will to survive on the lonely edges of the empire. Who were the first people to tame and ride horses? It's a question that has long puzzled archaeologists. While dogs are known as man's oldest companions, horses have been just as vital to human survival. A recent discovery in Kazakhstan may finally shed light on that ancient mystery. At a Bronze Age burial site along the Turd River, archaeologists unearthed two horse skeletons, some of the earliest evidence of horseback riding ever found. The grave was part of a larger ancient cemetery on the Eurasian steppe, containing more than 30 burial mounds, all dating to the Bronze Age. Radiocarbon dating revealed that the grave was in use from around 1890 to 1774 BCE, just a century after humans began domesticating horses around 2000 BC. So who lived here? 4,000 years ago, these were the Petrovka people, associated with the Andronovo culture, one of the first communities to breed horses for meat. But this discovery reveals something more. After eating horses, they began to ride them. Wear patterns on the horse's teeth show they once wore bits, and 3 bronze bits were buried alongside them. This suggests horseback riding was already well developed by that time. The steppe dwellers not only rode horses and crafted gear for them, they even buried them with the dead. Still, the true origin of horseback riding remains one of history's most enduring riddles. In recent years, images of pyramid-shaped structures in Antarctica's Ellsworth Mountains have rocked the internet, sparking a theory that humans may have built them more than 100 million years ago. These pyramids rise up to 1,200 meters tall, 10 times the height of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The theory originated from a website called Earth We Are One, which cited a photo taken in 1935, and used it to argue that an ancient civilization once existed and constructed these formations. The site even referenced legitimate scientific studies about the presence of prehistoric plants and microbes in Antarctica as potential evidence that humans could have once lived there. But there's a major problem. The life forms once found in Antarctica date back millions of years, long before humans ever appeared. There's simply no way our species could have existed there 100 million years ago, which is when these pyramids are claimed to have been built. In an interview with Live Science, geologist Eric Ridnett debunked the theory. He explained that pyramid-like mountains are a common natural phenomenon in glaciated regions. They form when multiple glaciers converge and slowly erode the peak of a mountain into a sharp point over time. In other words, this is nothing more than a mountain with a particularly striking shape. Still, not everyone is convinced. Many remain skeptical because the formation looks too perfect to be natural. For them, it feels like something is still being hidden beneath that blanket of pure white ice, a secret not yet buried by time. They call it the Reef of Paradise, but even they don't know who built it. To the modern world, the place is known as Nan Madol, located deep within the Pacific in the heart of Micronesia. This strange city was built in the middle of a lagoon on a foundation of coral and stone and stretches across 92 man-made islands. The construction techniques alone are enough to leave modern minds in awe. Ancient engineers had to create each island from scratch. Each one formed a semi-floating base used to support the massive structures above. To move between areas, they designed an intricate canal system connecting every corner of the city like the circulatory system of a living body. Non-Medol is like a Venice of the ocean magnified 100 times. From roughly 1100 to 1628, Nan-Madol served as the political capital of the Sadalir dynasty. The entire kingdom housed around 25,000 people, a modest number, but fitting for a civilization living on scattered islands, constantly threatened by tides and natural disasters. Radiocarbon dating hasn't yielded clear results, leaving the true age of Nan-Madol a lingering enigma. Some even question whether the Sadalir built it at all. When Micronesian settlers first arrived over 1,000 years ago, they may have found only the ruins of a fallen city. Local legends might hold the key to this riddle. One of the most famous tales says the city was created by two brothers, powerful sorcerers, who built it as an offering to their god. In some versions, they flew through the air and used levitation to position the stones. Others mention a flying dragon. Still others say giants helped them. These giants supposedly erected the city using massive basalt blocks, some weighing up to 50 tons. How could ordinary humans move stones of such size without supernatural aid? No pulleys, wheels, or lifting devices have ever been found. While archaeologists have identified several quarry sites, how the stones were transported remains a complete mystery. No one knows exactly how this breathtaking city was built. And so far, the only clues still point to ancient legends of sorcerers and giants, otherworldly beings who left behind a stone metropolis in the heart of the sea, a challenge cast in stone for the ages. In April 2019, British cave diver Josh Bratsley vanished while exploring an underwater cave system at Mill Pond in Nashville, Tennessee. It's the kind of place where no one wants to get lost, especially not beneath pitch-black water. Bratsley had previously been celebrated worldwide in 2018 for helping rescue a soccer coach and 12 boys trapped in a flooded cave in Thailand. Ironically, just 1 year later, he found himself in a similarly life-threatening situation. Despite his elite training, Josh became lost in the underground labyrinth. Miraculously, he survived. By 6 p.m. that day, just hours after he was reported missing, a team of professional divers launched a rescue mission. 1 hour later, Ed Sorensen from Florida and his team pulled Josh from the cave alive and breathing. Sorensen said locating Josh had been extremely difficult. Mill Pond is notoriously dangerous, and the guideline rope, the only thing keeping divers oriented, had snapped. Without it, navigating the underwater maze was nearly impossible. They found Josh holed up in a tiny air pocket. When he saw the rescuers, his first words were, "I'm not used to being on this side of a rescue." Josh emerged from the cave in good health and even managed to keep his sense of humor despite his brush with death. Inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, there exists a massive void, one that remained undiscovered for 4,500 years. This secret only came to light in 2017 when an international team of scientists used cosmic ray scanning technology to detect a large hidden space buried deep within the structure. The discovery was based on a simple yet brilliant principle. Earth is constantly bombarded by cosmic rays, including tiny particles called muons. When muons hit solid materials, they slow down. But when they pass through empty space, they continue straight through. By tracking these changes, scientists pinpointed the location of a large void inside the pyramid. A scanning device from Japan confirmed the results, revealing a cavity more than 100 feet long, located near the monument's center. This void had never been detected before, as it lies buried within dense stone and is completely inaccessible without advanced technology. Archaeologists immediately began to wonder what's inside. A hidden treasure chamber from Pharaoh Khufu's time, or part of an ancient funerary ritual? So far, there's no definitive answer. Muons can reveal the presence of empty space, but not what lies within. Some experts, like Peter Dermanilian of Harvard University, suggest the space might be an unfinished section of the pyramid sealed off long ago. Others, like Karakuni, believe it could be a second grand gallery leading to the king's chamber, sealed for reasons yet unknown. Although its purpose remains unclear, the discovery of the void marks a turning point, proof that modern technology is beginning to peel back the layers of ancient secrets. Whatever lies hidden inside the pyramid still defies human understanding and continues to challenge our imagination. Archaeologists recently unearthed a miraculous site, a forgotten city buried beneath the sands for over 3,000 years. They've named it the Lost Golden City, dating back to the 14th century BCE, during the reign of legendary pharaohs like Amenhotep III and Tutankhamun. For years, Egyptologists had searched in vain for this ancient city. Then in September 2020, the Earth finally gave up its secret. As excavation began, it became immediately clear this was no ordinary ruin. Intact city walls emerged from the soil alongside rooms filled with everyday objects left behind by people who lived 3 millennia ago. Betsy Bryan, a professor of Egyptology at Johns Hopkins University, called it the second most significant discovery in Egyptian archaeology, second only to King Tut's tomb. The city appears almost frozen in time. Gold rings, pottery, and countless other artifacts have been found. Bricks used in construction still bear the seal of Amenhotep III. In another section, strange bull graves baffled the experts. They had never seen burial rituals like these before. The city also revealed many unexpected details. Archaeologists discovered a massive bakery where hundreds of workers once prepared food for the city's population. A residential district, an administrative hub, even human remains have been unearthed. And yet, this is only the beginning. The lost Golden City has only just awakened, and it may take years to uncover all the secrets it has hidden in its sun-baked walls and the ashes of time. In the arid desert of Saudi Arabia, a strange monolith rises from the sand, and legend claims it was sliced in two by a beam of light. No one knows exactly where the beam came from. A spacecraft from another world, a forgotten ancient technology, or something that is yet to be named. The phenomenon is known as Al-Nasla Rock, a colossal boulder split perfectly down the middle, as if it had been cut by a blade of pure light. The rock stands nearly 6 meters tall, precariously balanced atop two smaller stones, almost appearing to float. Its halves face each other, not quite touching, giving the illusion that even a gentle breeze might send them toppling. And yet, for thousands of years, they have remained in that delicate stance, defying gravity and every law of physics. Geologists insist the formation is completely natural, but that hasn't stopped the imaginations of those drawn to the mysterious. On its surface are visible prehistoric carvings, depictions of horses, humans, and animals resembling goats. No alien figures, no signs of advanced weaponry to support the laser theory. One of the most accepted explanations suggests the rock lies on a fault line. At some point in the past, a minor earthquake may have shaken the land beneath it, splitting the stone cleanly down the center into two nearly symmetrical parts. Another possibility is rooted in the Ice Age. The rock may have once been frozen solid, allowing water to seep into sandstone cracks. When the water froze, it expanded slowly, prying the rock apart over time. After the ice melted, the fracture remained, leaving behind the surreal sight we see today. No one knows for sure which theory is correct. Was it an earthquake scar, the surgical cut of a mysterious cosmic beam, or simply the result of an ancient freeze-thaw cycle? Whatever the answer, the Al Nasla rock still stands like a portal between reality and legend, beckoning those drawn to the ancient mysteries of our world. In the Istra region, just beyond the outskirts of Moscow, a rare and remarkable discovery has come to light. A prehistoric cemetery, more than 4,500 years old, dating back to the very time the pyramids were being raised along the distant Nile. The excavation led by Russia's Institute of Archaeology has unveiled a fragment of the Fatyonovo culture, the first known farming society to inhabit Russian soil. Within the tombs were ancient skeletal remains, accompanied by stone axes, spears, arrowheads, and unusual burial artifacts. Researchers consider the find highly significant. In the past 3 decades, no Fatyonovo burial site has been excavated on such a complete scale. The Fatyonovo culture emerged around 2900 BCE and thrived for nearly 900 years in the primeval forests of western Russia. The ceremonial placement of stone hexes suggests the people may have originated from Eastern Europe, possibly regions like Poland or Belarus, where similar funerary rites once prevailed. Intriguingly, their arrival marked the dawn of the Bronze Age in Russia. These early settlers began herding livestock, cultivating crops, and working with bronze, ushering in a new chapter in human civilization. But most traces of their existence have vanished. The region's loose soil has failed to preserve their remains across millennia. That's why the newly uncovered cemetery is such a priceless window into a forgotten past. In recent years, scientists have grown increasingly concerned that sonar waves from submarines and surveillance equipment are causing serious harm to marine life. But a recent study reveals something even more disturbing. Divers themselves may be at risk. The findings show that exposure to underwater sonar can cause temporary hearing loss in humans. A persistent rumor claims that in 2004, a U.S. Navy diver was killed by sonar while working aboard a submarine. At the time, the Navy was allegedly testing a new sonar system so powerful it could kill dolphins using sound waves alone. However, all records of the project are said to have been erased, leaving the incident forever unconfirmed. In 2008, reports surfaced of mass whale deaths during military exercises off the coast of Hawaii. Whale and dolphin carcasses washed ashore in alarming numbers, coinciding exactly with the Navy's sonar operations. The environmental group Earth Justice publicly declared the Navy responsible, though the military denied all accusations. If a sonar pulse can kill a whale, it stands to reason that it could also kill a human. Modern naval sonar can reach sound levels of up to 235 decibels. For comparison, any sound above 200 decibels can rupture human lungs. At 210, the brain begins to hemorrhage instantly. This means that even the slightest error near a submarine could expose divers to deadly acoustic waves, an invisible killer lurking beneath the sea. From the ruins of ancient Babylon, archaeologists unearthed a clay tablet more mysterious than anyone could have imagined. A trigonometric table dating back 3,700 years, predating Pythagoras' theorem by more than a millennium. What shocked scholars wasn't just its age, but its precision. The math inscribed on the tablet is more accurate than many modern-day trigonometric tables. Who created such a masterpiece? No one knows the name of this Babylonian genius, but it's clear he discovered that in a right triangle, the square of the hypotenuse equals the sum of the squares of the other two sides. As if sensing the enormity of his insight, he etched the equations onto clay using a reed stylus, preserving knowledge that would transcend time. Today, The artifact is known as Plimpton 322 and is housed at Columbia University. It was excavated in Iraq before the 1930s by archaeologist Edgar Banks, a man whose fedora and passion for ancient relics helped inspire the character of Indiana Jones. Banks even led a real-life search for Noah's Ark, though no one knows if he ever came close to finding it. But the bigger question remains: how did the Babylonians grasp such advanced mathematics so long before the rest of the world? Many scholars now believe that Babylonian civilization was far more sophisticated than previously thought. And perhaps in the shadows of time, the greatest mathematical minds in history once flourished, only to be lost beneath the sands. What survives today are fragments, scattered echoes of a forgotten peak. At the Fitzwilliam Museum at Cambridge University, researchers examining a medieval prayer book known as the Hours of Isabella Stewart uncovered something strange. A painting in the manuscript had been altered. The discovery revealed a hidden story, possibly one of the earliest documented wife swaps in European literary history. The book was commissioned by Francis I, Duke of Brittany, who originally had his first wife, Yolande d'Anjou, depicted kneeling in prayer before the Virgin Mary. But then something happened. Perhaps Yolande died of plague or was exiled from court, and her face vanished. In her place appeared the face of his second wife, Isabella. What makes this so unusual is that the manuscript was painted entirely on vellum calf or goatskin, and altering an illustration in 1431 was no simple task. Only with infrared imaging could experts detect the original pigment hidden beneath the surface. But the story didn't end there. After marrying Isabella, the Duke added another page to commemorate their firstborn daughter. Amid sacred verses and holy imagery, a deeply personal tale of love, loss, and power was quietly inscribed, like a whisper echoing from the shadows of the Middle Ages. In the most desolate corner of the earth, Antarctica, an icy giant is melting little by little every day. It's known as the Thwaites Glacier, and with a surface area the size of Florida, scientists have dubbed it the Doomsday Glacier for its terrifying potential to raise global sea levels. In 2020, a team of researchers from the International Thwaites Glacier Collaboration embarked on an unprecedented mission to the Glacier S grounding zone, where the ice meets the land. Few people have ever set foot in this extreme region. For 2 relentless months, battling snow and frigid winds, the team drilled more than 700 meters into the ice using hot water equipment and lowered, high-tech robots to collect data. The results were alarming. Over the past 3 decades, meltwater from Thwaites has nearly doubled. Scientists hope that by tracking these changes, we might better prepare for a future in which rising seas could wipe out entire coastlines. Dr. Keith Nichols of the British Antarctic Survey issued a stark warning. Warm ocean water is silently eroding the West Antarctic ice sheet, and Thwaites is the most vulnerable point. If the melting continues, the glacier could collapse entirely, unleashing irreversible consequences for the planet. But perhaps the most troubling part is that while the scientific community is sounding the alarm, many people still dismiss or outright deny climate change. And that silence, willed or ignorant, makes discoveries like this one all the more haunting. A warning echoing into the void of disbelief. In Aswan province, southern Egypt near the border with ancient Nubia, archaeologists have uncovered the remains of an early Coptic church built within the crumbling walls of a Roman fortress. The structure dates back to the Ptolemaic dynasty around 323 BCE, following the death of Alexander the Great and the rise of Ptolemy as ruler of Egypt. The discovery reveals a strange intersection of cultures. Inside the weathered Roman stonework, researchers found a sandstone relief depicting a mysterious Roman emperor standing beside an altar offering tribute to an unknown deity. It was these Roman ruins that the early Copts repurposed into a place of worship. But how long the church was active, or how many worshippers once knelt within its walls, no one can say. What we do know is that the Copts, who today make up roughly 10% of Egypt's population, are descendants of ancient Egyptians who converted to Christianity nearly 2,000 years ago. Perhaps it was their ancestors who once lived and prayed in this forgotten sanctuary. But like so many ancient stories, theirs has long since faded into silence. A strange marine creature recently washed up on Russia's coastline, sending chills through local residents and even the soldiers stationed nearby. The creature was unlike anything they had ever seen, like a grotesque fusion between a decomposed whale and a prehistoric crocodile. Its head resembled the skull of a reptile, complete with sharp teeth and a powerful jaw. Yet, its body was covered in a thick coat of wet black hair, disturbing and unnatural. The creature measured around 6 meters long, mostly bone, and was reportedly found by a military unit on Sakhalin Island near Japan's border. The corpse was so bizarre that it was immediately taken away by the military for analysis. For 8 years, the truth was kept secret, fueling rumors that it was a mythical beast or a sea monster straight out of legend. Eventually, the mystery was resolved. It was the heavily decayed body of a beluga whale. The dark, hair-like covering may have been algae or bacteria that thrived in the seawater. Still, its horrifying appearance left a lasting impression and stirred years of speculation and fear. On a chilly morning in May of 1831, Hannah Borden Cook left her home on a simple errand: to gather sand from the beach to scrub her kitchen knives. But as she walked along the damp shoreline, she stumbled upon something unthinkable: a human skull lying exposed in the earth. At first, Hannah panicked. Then she composed herself and called for help. What began as a minor discovery quickly turned into one of the greatest mysteries in the town of Fall River, Massachusetts. It wasn't just the presence of the bones that stunned everyone, but the condition they were found in. The man had died in a seated position, still clad in an elaborate copper suit. Tubes of copper circled his waist like a belt, and a gleaming chest plate protected his torso. Beside him lay a rotted quiver of arrows, suggesting the grave had existed for centuries. The skeleton and its armor were transported to the Fall River Athenaeum, a renowned library where scholars debated its origin. The poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow became so intrigued that he penned The Skeleton in Armor, imagining the man as a Viking explorer, a northern sailor who had crossed the Atlantic long before Columbus. The theory wasn't entirely without merit. Some linked the find to other regional mysteries, like the strange markings on Dighton Rock or the Newport tower structures rumored to have Viking origins. The pieces seemed to align in uncanny ways, but the truth was never revealed. In 1843, a devastating fire destroyed the library. It was sparked by 2 young boys playing recklessly with a cannon. The skeleton, along with most of the evidence, was reduced to ash. Only 2 copper tubes survived, now kept by the Fall River Historical Society. Without the remains, scientific analysis was impossible, leaving room for endless theories. Was he a Viking warrior, a Native American chief in ceremonial armor, or a visitor from a civilization lost to time? Today, most experts lean toward the indigenous explanation, but some still dream of ancient seafarers who reached America long before history says they did. In late 2019, users of Google Earth noticed something strange: a massive cave entrance on Greenwich Island, a remote outpost in Antarctica. Satellite data shows the opening first appeared in 2007. But just 6 months later, the image vanished from Google Earth. And that's when the theories exploded. Some believe it's the entrance to a secret military base. Others claim it's a remnant of a forgotten civilization. And then there are those who think it's a portal to Hollow Earth, a hidden world beneath the surface. As the image went viral, measurements revealed the cave to be 76 meters wide and 22 meters high, large enough to fit hundreds, possibly thousands of people. Blake and Brett Cousins, hosts of the YouTube channel Third Phase of the Moon, suggested that a natural event like an avalanche or climate shift, may have revealed or concealed the entrance. They even pointed out that the rocks outside resembled artificial steps. To this day, no scientist or government agency has issued an official explanation. The story quietly faded from the headlines. But for those who believe in mysteries, the cave remains etched in memory like a half-open door between two worlds. Outside the ruins of ancient Alexandria, archaeologists uncovered a series of hidden tombs buried deep beneath the earth. These were the final resting places for mummies that carried a gleaming enigma: golden tongues. Among the 16 graves excavated, 2 skeletons still bore metallic tongues nestled between their teeth. The ancient Egyptians believed gold was the material of immortality, resistant to rust, untouched by decay, and forever radiant like the eternal soul. These golden tongues were placed in the mouths of the dead with the hope that if they had been mute or unable to speak clearly in life, they might still find their voice in the afterlife to plead with Osiris, the god of the dead, for a more favorable fate. The temple where the mummies were found is known as Taposiris Magna. Inside, alongside the golden tongues, archaeologists also discovered masks, dusted in gold flakes, and depictions of Osiris adorned with pure gold. According to Jennifer Hauser-Wegner, curator of Egyptian artifacts at the Penn Museum in Philadelphia, this isn't the first time golden tongues have been found. These tiny pieces of gold represent a powerful belief that even those who lived in silence could reclaim their voice in the light of death through gold, through hope, and through whispered prayers to the gods. A new study from Cambridge University has revealed a strange truth. Fashion took a painful toll on the English people centuries ago, specifically during the medieval period. When researchers excavated and analyzed skeletal remains from the city's heart, they noticed a curious trend. The wealthy and clerical elite frequently suffered from a foot deformity known today as bunion. A bunion is a painful misalignment of the big toe, often caused by squeezing feet into tight, pointed shoes, similar to how modern ballet dancers force their feet into undersized footwear. While less common today, bunions were once a medieval epidemic. The study found that wealthy individuals in medieval Cambridge could afford fashionable shoes with narrow, pointed toes. And it was these trendy shoes that sparked a widespread bunion crisis across England. More surprising still, the skeletons showed that bunion sufferers had a significantly higher rate of bone fractures, likely from falling. In short, the urban elite went mad for pointed shoes. They traded comfort for fashion, deforming their feet, stumbling through the streets, and breaking bones, all for the sake of staying in style. Fashion, it seems, has never been without its price. Near the ancient city of Gath, once said to be the home of the giant Goliath, a recent archaeological discovery may shed new light on one of the Bible's most enduring legends. The artifact, dating back 3,000 years, was found in a forgotten site now known as Khirbet Qeiyafa, located roughly 30 kilometers southwest of Jerusalem. From this vantage point, one can see the ruins of Gath, the Philistine stronghold, where legend says Goliath once emerged to challenge the Israelites, only to fall to a shepherd boy named David, armed with nothing but a sling. Though the tale of David and Goliath continues to stir debate over its historical authenticity, recent archaeological evidence suggests parts of the story may be rooted in reality. Beneath the soil of Khirbet Qeiyafa, researchers uncovered the remnants of a powerful military force and religious relics dating back 3 millennia. Holy pillars, altars, temples, and terracotta idols. Some of the artifacts discovered may even have inspired biblical descriptions of Solomon's palace. They reflect a civilization as spiritual identity and may form the foundation of legends we once believed were pure allegory. Some scholars now propose a bold theory that David, like King Arthur or Robin Hood, may not have been a historical figure at all, but a cultural symbol shaped by generations of oral tradition and myth-making, ultimately immortalized in Scripture. But whether legend or truth, the clash between David and Goliath endures both as a tale of courage and as a whisper rising from the ruins beneath our feet. High atop Wyoming's Bighorn Mountains lies a sacred and mysterious structure known as the Bighorn Medicine Wheel. For decades, it has captivated scientists, historians, and native communities alike. When European Americans first discovered it in the early 1900s, what they found was a massive stone circle, roughly 24 meters in diameter, with a central cairn and 28 spokes radiating outward. This wasn't a random arrangement. For the native peoples, the medicine wheel was a spiritual place tied to healing rituals, worship, and possibly even astronomy. The Bighorn Medicine Wheel is one of the largest and best preserved of its kind. Though not the oldest, some Canadian wheels date back over 5,000 years. It remains the most well-known. Its mystery deepened in the 1970s when astronomer John Eddy found that certain parts of the wheel aligned with key points in the sky, such as sunrise on the summer solstice and specific star constellations. Could this be an ancient celestial calendar? Eddy's findings suggest its builders had remarkable knowledge of astronomy. While science offers rational theories, native legends tell another story. The Crow and Blackfoot people speak of miraculous healings linked to the wheel. According to the Crow, a man named Burnt Face fasted at the site and was cured of his injuries. The Blackfoot tell of Scarface, who lost his scars after visiting the sacred circle. Whatever the truth, the tales remain steeped in wonder. The wheel's true age is still unknown. Glass beads found nearby suggest it was in use at least 300 years ago, while charcoal samples indicate the area may have been sacred for over 6,500 years. Since the stones were sourced locally, carbon dating can't determine the structure's exact age. Was this an ancient observatory? A healing shrine? A holy site? Perhaps it was all of those things and more. A recent study has uncovered the oldest known genetic link between modern Native Americans and their distant ancestors from across the ocean. The breakthrough came from a small archaeological site near Lake Baikal, close to the Mongolian border. Their archaeologists found several intriguing artifacts: reindeer bones, bone tools, and a tiny human tooth. The tooth was sent for analysis by archaeologist Vlad Schneider of the Russian Academy of Sciences. The DNA results stunned the entire team. The tooth was 14,000 years old. Further genetic analysis revealed that its owner shared common ancestry with modern Native Americans, as well as with Eurasian and East Asian populations. To date, this is the oldest known ancestor with a direct genetic link to indigenous people now living in Canada and the United States. The finding supports a compelling theory that ancient populations once roamed across a vast land mass stretching from China, Mongolia, and Russia to Kazakhstan. Then, for reasons still unknown, a small group of them crossed the Bering Land Bridge from Siberia into North America. And from that moment on, they were isolated, cut off from the rest of the world for over 10,000 years. In Egypt's Bahariya province north of Cairo, archaeologists have uncovered the remains of a massive pottery workshop dating back to the Greco-Roman era. Evidence suggests this was once a bustling center of ceramic production around the 3rd century BCE. During the excavation, they discovered all the key areas of the production process: the shaping stations, drying areas, and kilns. Remarkably, many of the artifacts found, pots, bowls, and dishes, have remained intact for over 2,500 years, their shapes untouched by time. In the shaping area, archaeologists found fragments of potter's wheels, metal tools, and unfinished clay vessels. The entire workshop reveals a complex operational system with well-preserved kilns, ventilation channels, and mud brick walls. It's likely that this workshop once served local residents, providing essential everyday items. But more surprising was the presence of nearby mud brick tombs, some containing bodies buried in a squatting position. Were these the final resting places of the artisans who once worked here? Some tombs held pottery resembling the workshop's own products alongside burial jars, made of gypsum, bronze, and even ancient stone relics. Each tomb tells the quiet story of hands that once shaped clay, now return to the earth beside their creations. In 1872, while digging a fence post hole in the village of Meredith, New Hampshire, workers stumbled upon an odd patch of clay near Hodgson's Mill. Inside, they discovered a strange egg-shaped stone covered in intricate carvings. Roughly 10 centimeters tall and 6 centimeters wide, the stone bore etchings of a face, a teepee, an ear of corn, and puzzling geometric symbols. Most baffling was a drilled hole running cleanly through both ends, appearing to have been made with different tools. Was it once worn as a talisman? The stone was quickly handed over to Seneca Ladd, a wealthy businessman and avid collector of artifacts. Whether he discovered it himself or simply owned the land remains unclear, but Ladd added it to his collection and displayed it at a bank, turning the space into a miniature museum. The mystery stone immediately drew attention from newspapers and amateur scientists alike. Later analysis revealed the object was made of quartzite or melanite, neither native to New Hampshire. The carvings were so precise that they appeared to require advanced tools. Stylistically, the engravings didn't match the local Abenaki culture. The face resembled Aztec or Inuit art, while the teepee was more common among Western tribes in the U.S. Theories about its origin are wide-ranging. Some believe it was a ceremonial object, a tribal peace offering, or a burial artifact meant for water rites. Others claim it to be a thunderstone, a mythical rock said to fall from the sky during storms, or even a 16th century navigation tool. More outlandish theories suggest it's evidence of a lost civilization or a global cataclysm warning. Some suspect it was simply a hoax orchestrated by Ladd himself, but he never sought fame or profit. And in 1927, his daughter donated the stone to the New Hampshire Historical Society. To this day, the mystery stone remains part of the Society's collection, drawing questions and conspiracy theories from all directions. Is it an ancient relic, a sophisticated hoax, or something entirely different? That mystery still awaits an answer. For years, the cave paintings of Lascaux, France, were believed to be the world's oldest art, but a new discovery in Indonesia has reshaped that belief. Scientists recently identified a painting in a Sulawesi Island cave dated to roughly 44,000 years ago, making it the oldest known artwork ever found on Earth. Previously, most researchers believed cave art originated in Europe, where paintings in France and Spain date back around 37,000 years. But archaeologists in Indonesia had long suspected the story was more complex. Using uranium series dating techniques, scientists from Griffith University confirmed their suspicions. Though locals had known about the cave paintings for generations, none had guessed they were so ancient. The 2017 announcement opened the door to further searches. One particular image stands out, a nearly 5-meter-long hunting scene showing tiny, human figures wielding spears and chasing wild boars and buffalo. Strangely, the hunters have animal-like features, bird heads or animal tails, suggesting early humans may have already held spiritual beliefs and abstract thought. This discovery doesn't just expand our understanding of prehistoric art. It's rewriting the timeline of human cognitive evolution. In 2019, archaeologists unearthed a series of sacred offerings atop a ceremonial platform once used by the Aztecs. This extraordinary discovery could bring researchers closer to a long-sought goal, finding the tomb of an Aztec emperor, something never before accomplished. At the base of a sacred temple staircase, they uncovered a rectangular stone box at the center of a circular platform. Inside was the body of a jaguar, ornately decorated as an Aztec warrior. These artifacts were excavated in the heart of modern Mexico City, once the location of Templo Mayor, a 15-story temple destroyed in 1521 during the Spanish conquest. Alongside the jaguar, researchers also found the remains of a child dressed to represent the Aztec god of war. There were obsidian blades encrusted with gems, flamingo-like bird skeletons, seashells, and coral. Historical records indicate Aztec emperors were cremated, their ashes placed with luxurious offerings, and the hearts of sacrificed slaves. Many now speculate that this box might hold the remains of a king, the jaguar, symbolizing his fierce warrior spirit. All of it likely placed here by Aztec priests some 500 years ago. However, after this major find, the excavation faced setbacks when the Mexican government cut funding, leaving many archaeologists unpaid. Still, they remain hopeful, determined to uncover the missing piece of history, the mysterious tomb of an Aztec emperor. Set in the wetlands of the Liao River Delta, in the heart of the world's largest reed marsh, China's Red Beach in Dahua County is one of the most protected ecosystems in Asia. It's home to over 400 species of wildlife, including numerous rare and endangered creatures. The beach also serves as a critical stopover for at least 260 migratory bird species, making it a vital link in the global ecological chain. Despite the name, the Red Beach isn't made of sand. It's a vast tidal wetland covered in lush grasses and a unique plant called sueda, also known as seaweed. This hardy red plant is what gives the beach its stunning crimson hue, like a sea of blood whispering with the wind. Sueda thrives in salty, alkaline, acidic soil, a harsh environment where few species can survive. Around April and May, the plants sprout green shoots, hold that color through summer, then blaze into red during the fall. Few people know this. The region's short-grain rice, famed for its exceptional quality, was selected as the official rice of the 2008 Beijing Olympics. The term official rice might sound odd, but it reflects China's pride in showcasing the purest bounty of its land. Since 1988, most of Red Beach has been designated a national-level protected zone and closed to the public. Only a small section is open, where visitors can view the breathtaking landscape without disturbing the delicate ecosystem. But this sanctuary faces growing threats from surrounding human activity. Fish farms, rice fields, and even oil operations now compete for resources and space, making this fragile habitat more vulnerable than ever. Amid the endless reeds and the vast crimson stretching to the horizon, the Red Beach endures a symphony of life and silence, brilliant yet delicate, like the breath of nature held captive in the clutches of time. Isolated in the middle of the Indian Ocean, between Yemen and Somalia, the Socotra archipelago emerges like a world entirely apart from the rest of Earth. Due to millennia of isolation, over a third of its living organisms are endemic, found nowhere else on the planet. Species of plants and animals, long vanished elsewhere, continue to survive quietly on this untouched land. Often referred to as the Galapagos of the Indian Ocean, Socotra is a haven of strangeness, home to 307 endemic plant species, accounting for 37% of all flora on the island. Among the most iconic is the dragon's blood tree, with its massive umbrella-shaped canopy and crimson sap, and the Adenium sacotronum, which blooms pale pink flowers from a trunk swollen like an elephant's leg. The island also shelters 11 endemic bird species, including the Socotra starling, Socotra warbler, and the thick-billed Socotra sparrow. While bats are the only native mammals, an astonishing 90% of the mollusks and reptiles here exist nowhere else on Earth. According to National Geographic, archaeological traces suggest humans first set foot on Socotra as early as the 2nd century. Some even believe this island might once have been the site of the Garden of Eden, the mythical origin of humankind. Today, despite its fairy tale beauty, Socotra lies beneath the shadow of conflict. Yemen's civil war has reached the island as separatist forces overthrew the central government and seized control. Combined with the global COVID-19 pandemic, Socotra now faces deep instability. And tragically, this is no longer the right time to visit the forgotten paradise adrift in the sea. Egyptian archaeologists have uncovered a trove of wonders in a location known as the Valley of the Monkeys in Luxor. But contrary to its strange name, the valley contains no monkeys. In truth, this was once a thriving industrial zone, some 3,500 years ago. Located directly opposite the Valley of the Kings, it served as the site where raw materials and funerary objects were crafted for royal tombs. The valley dates back to the 18th dynasty of the New Kingdom, spanning from 1543 to 1292 BCE, remaining in use for over a millennium. Renowned Egyptologist Zahi Hawass led the excavation, which lasted more than 2 years. Together with his team, he uncovered 30 workshops once used to produce funerary items including coffins, canopic jars, and countless other objects essential for honoring the dead. It could be called ancient Egypt's version of Santa's workshop, a place where items were manufactured en masse to prepare pharaohs and nobles for the afterlife. The site was initially discovered in the early 19th century by Napoleon Bonaparte and his army. But unlike the Valley of the Kings or the treasure-laden pyramids of Cairo, the Valley of the Monkeys held little gold or jewels, and so it was quickly forgotten. It wasn't until 2011 that excavation resumed, though political unrest soon interrupted the effort. Digging only truly resumed in 2017. Thanks to this renewed exploration, we now have a clearer understanding of how the ancient Egyptians managed to produce such breathtaking material wonders in astonishingly short time frames. A strange creature believed by some to be extraterrestrial was discovered in the remote wilderness of Russia. Or at least that's what appears in a video uploaded by All News Web. According to the description, the body was found in Buryatia, deep in Siberia, not far from several well-known UFO hotspots. The footage itself is grainy and unclear. It shows two Russian men walking through a snow-covered field while casually chatting with one another. Then they reveal what they claim is the corpse of an alien being. The creature is small, far too small to be human. Its shriveled body, large gray head, and enormous black eyes bear all the classic features of a being straight out of our collective imagination about visitors from distant galaxies. In the video, the men say they discovered the body just a few hours earlier. Judging by the freezing weather, they speculate that it may have lain motionless in the snow for several days. Some skeptics have dismissed the footage as nothing more than a hoax, but others believe this could be the first real proof evidence that alien life is not only possible, but real. No one knows what became of the body after it was found. The video ends abruptly, offering no further details. The story faded quietly into obscurity, leaving behind far more questions than answers. When does a mummy stop being a mummy? Perhaps when it is actually the victim of a murder? This strange question became the starting point for one of the most bizarre archaeological investigations in human history. A mystery, blending artifact and homicide. In 2000, the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York received 4 Polaroid photos showing what appeared to be a mummy. The curator assigned to the case was Oscar Muscarella. With his trained eye, he found the details convincing. The photos came with a translation of an inscription said to be engraved on the mummy's golden breastplate. According to it, the remains belonged to a Persian princess, the daughter of the legendary King Xerxes, the same ruler who, according to history, once ordered his soldiers to whip the sea in anger. Anyone who has seen the movie 300 will recall Xerxes adorned with piercings and a voice like thunder. Now before them was the supposed mummy of his daughter, a priceless treasure if authentic, and the museum could not ignore the opportunity. Yet Muscarella hesitated. Something about the translation seemed off small errors that raised his suspicion. The uneasy feeling grew, and ultimately he refused to purchase the mummy. For him, the matter ended there. But months later, Pakistani police arrested a man named Ali Akbar for suspected illegal trafficking of mummies. It turned out to be the same mummy from the photos sent to New York. The case seemed closed, but it was far from over. The mummy was transferred to the National Museum in Karachi and unveiled in a grand press conference as the remains of a Persian princess who lived around 600 BCE. International media erupted. Iran reacted furiously, claiming the princess was Persian and therefore rightfully theirs. A heated diplomatic dispute broke out over ownership of what was believed to be King Xerxes's daughter. However, while nations argued, scientists at the National Museum of Pakistan began their analysis. At first, everything seemed consistent. The mummy lay in a wooden coffin stretched out on a reed mat. The coffin was decorated with a golden mask, and the breastplate bore an inscription reading, "I am the daughter of the great King Xerxes. I am Rotun." But soon anomalies surfaced. The inscription was riddled with grammatical errors, and even the princess's name was wrong. Rotun was a Greek transliteration. Her true Persian name would have been Warda. Researchers began to suspect something was seriously amiss. When radiocarbon dating was performed on the reed mat, the results showed it was only about 50 years old, far younger than the 2,600 years claimed by the legend. The next step was a full forensic examination of the body. It was then that the horrifying truth emerged. The woman in the coffin was indeed an adult, but she had died in 1996, only 4 years before the photos were sent to the museum. Forensic analysis revealed her neck had been broken, likely strangled to death. What was thought to be the remains of an ancient princess turned out to be the victim of a modern murder. It was a shocking case in which the killer murdered an unknown woman, mummified her, and attempted to sell the body as an artifact. The scandal humiliated archaeologists and politicians worldwide. Pakistani police launched an investigation, but more than 2 decades later, the case remains unsolved. The killer has never been caught. The princess mummy? No, just a tragic woman sold as a precious relic. An advanced civilization on the Iberian Peninsula. Around 2,500 years ago, a mysterious civilization emerged on the Iberian Peninsula known as the Tartessians. They were a Bronze Age power with construction techniques that still baffle archaeologists today. Their capital, Tartessos, was once a bustling port that attracted merchants from across the Mediterranean. The Tartessians had their own language, advanced metallurgy, and monumental architecture, as if they had appeared with fully developed knowledge from the very beginning. Studies show they maximized the use of local materials, building structures of remarkable durability without needing imports. They organized labor with a precision that resembled an early form of industrial efficiency. Yet as quickly as they appeared, they vanished under mysterious circumstances. Were they erased by the rise of Rome, defeated by Carthage, or did they migrate elsewhere? The answer remains hidden in the shadows of history. In the arid deserts of Syria, an unusual mystery has come to light. In 2009, archaeologist Robert Mason from the Royal Ontario Museum, while surveying an ancient monastery, stumbled upon strange stone blocks. They bore no resemblance to anything connected to the monastery. Upon analysis, Mason realized these stones were far older, dating back nearly 10,000 years. His sense of astonishment grew when further excavation revealed more stone structures scattered across the surrounding desert. They appeared to have once been used as animal traps during the Neolithic era. Thousands of years ago, this now barren land was lush and fertile, drawing early humans to hunt and settle. The monastery where Mason made his discovery is called Deir Mar Musa. Built around the 4th century, it survived until the 19th century when an earthquake destroyed it completely. It wasn't until the 1990s that the monastery was restored and reactivated. Mason believes the history of this site stretches far deeper than recorded, possibly having served as a Roman watchtower guarding the desert near Damascus before becoming a monastery. The so-called mummified figures at Pompeii paint a chilling picture of the most infamous natural disaster in history. But the stone-like forms that tourists see among the ruins are not the intact remains people believe them to be. They are not actual bodies. Despite drawing 3 million visitors a year, few know the truth behind them. On a late October day in 79 CE, Pompeii experienced an apocalypse. For the city's wealthy inhabitants, it may have seemed as though the gods themselves had delivered divine punishment. Mount Vesuvius erupted just 5 miles away, engulfing the area in a superheated cloud of toxic gas, while lava and burning ash rained down like fire from the sky. What remains today are the iconic stone bodies that appear frozen by Medusa's curse. But the reality is far different from popular belief. Many assume Pompeii's residents screamed as molten lava consumed the city, turning them into eternal statues. But the truth is otherwise. Before the 19th century, anyone visiting Pompeii would not have seen a single body. Professor Mary Beard of Cambridge University explains that these stone figures are not mummies at all. They are hollow casts shaped like human bodies. During excavation, archaeologists discovered voids in the hardened ash and debris, sometimes with charred bones inside. They soon realized what had happened when Vesuvius erupted. The people of Pompeii died from heat and toxic gases, not by being turned to stone. Ash and volcanic material encased their bodies, solidifying over time. Over centuries, the flesh decayed, clothing disintegrated, leaving empty spaces shaped like human forms. By pouring plaster into these cavities, archaeologists created exact replicas of the victims' final moments. Mary Beard calls these figures antibodies because they are merely molds of where human bodies once were. These casts were later placed around Pompeii to attract visitors who, with innocent eyes, believed they were standing before real mummies, when in fact they were only hollow shells of plaster. If you found these mysterious stories fascinating, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss the next great discovery. See you in the next video.